All right, let's go. So we're going to kick off this call by getting into these stories. So hopefully you're watching these in chronological order. The first part was the introduction to a presentation, whether it's a Zoom call, a home event, whatever the case is. You can apply these principles, these bullet points to those. This second video, okay, is going into detail on your story. And we're going to break down those bullet points so you guys can, really run with something to marker yourself throughout the call, and you guys can gauge where you're at with everything. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see some of these points. It's nothing crazy, just to maybe give you guys some guidelines here. But this is the most important. If I could break this down, your story. Okay. So once you go through that transition of, the intro, and I'm not going to break down the intro on this call, you can watch that video. But once you go through the introduction, you're going to want to transition to just sharing your story really briefly. And these points on here, really quickly is, where were you? Where were you before you got started? Where were you before you made that initial decision to do something different, to get involved, to get engaged with what we have? And number two is, why did you make that decision? Why did you make that decision in the first place to get started? And then the last point is, where are you going? And I said this on a call the other day, but without a vision, the people perish. And you've got to know where you're going, because people follow people that are clear on the direction of their life. So make sure you have these points written down. Make sure you're practicing them tonight. We're going to go through that together and give you guys the space and the opportunity to just maybe run through maybe where you're at in your story as well. But it's super simple. Don't complicate it. Keep it simple. But really the main points are, where were you before you got started? Why did you make that decision in the first place? And where are you going? And I'll just rock through real quick my story. That way you guys can hear it in full. But after I set the purpose of the call, I'm going to dive into, why I got started. And my transition could look something like, the reason you guys are here on this call is, we want to educate you. We want to equip you with the tools. We want to give you a plan of where to go and how to actually start putting your money to work. And it's crazy. I don't know if you guys can relate to this at all, but for me, a few years ago, before I got introduced to this information, I was at a crossroad. I had just graduated from college. I got myself in a lot of student loan debt, and I had to make a decision. I had to do something different in my life if I wanted a different outcome, because I knew the game I was playing. I went to school, I got good grades. I was on, the projection to hopefully have a good job and, maybe retire in the next 40, 50 plus years on a budget. And at 22 years young, that just didn't sound appealing to me. It didn't set me up to, be proud of my life, to have a life that I was, going to enjoy or anything related to the dream that I had in my heart. And I knew that at that time, when I got introduced to something like we're going to share with you guys tonight, I had to do something different. I had to make that decision. So for me, it was just, realizing if I was going to stay in the same place, I was going to get the same results. And why not take a chance? Why not, get access to the people, to the information at that time, where I could start to elevate my skill set. I could start to grow myself as a person of value, and realize that I could stop just trading my time for money and actually start to get my money to work for me. And so over time, over the last few years, I've learned the skills. I've applied myself. It took work. This is not an overnight thing. And if you're on this call tonight thinking that you're going to get rich, quick, this ain't the game for you. And if you're ready to apply yourself, you have that willingness of heart. Like I did, I was hungry. I was ready to go. I just didn't know what it was that I was looking for, but I saw it and I was like, yes, this is it. And this is for you. And I know over these next, 5, 10, 20 plus years, we're not only going to grow places financially, but we're going to make an impact. We're going to continue to serve people and put people in a position to win, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And we're hoping that you guys on this call tonight, that's you, and you guys can gain access to what we're going to go over. So, and then I'm going to edify. So that is in a nutshell. I've been practicing my story. I've been doing this for a minute. You guys, are witnessing that on this call. This isn't my first time sharing my story with people in general. And that was maybe just a taste of what your story could look like. And maybe on this call, it doesn't look like that. It's not polished or anything, like what I just shared with you, but that's okay. This is just an example. And you can refer back to this as maybe a guide and a gauge of where you are and where you can go to continue to grow yourself. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop recording, and we're going to get into you guys sharing your story.